Are you interested in having an extraordinary life? Well, I am. And I can tell you that my next guest has some of those answers for you. Hello, I'm Shannon Skinner, and this is Extraordinary Women TV. Our next guest is Liliane de Vries. She's the founder of Alive. What a great name for somebody who coaches people on how to have an extraordinary life. Now, you'll meet her in a moment. Later in the segment, before we take a break, I'll have my regular Good to Know Minute when I ask my guests for their top success tip. You'll hear Liliane's. Well, Liliane de Vries, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Alive, what a great name for a business.
Yeah, it took me a while to find that name. It took years of getting over my obstacles and discovering that that was really about me and about what I was doing. So I was excited when I did discover that name.
And it's so simple.
It is. And you know what? I always say things are pretty simple. They may not be as easy, but they are absolutely simple. There's a solution to everything.
Now, you have a nursing background.
I do. Actually, I started nursing back in 1977 and worked as a nurse for many years. And then at some point, there were a lot of struggles in healthcare. There was a lot of changes, and I felt that I had a very positive attitude in healthcare in my life, but I didn't have the something, and I couldn't figure out what the something was to get over the pain and the accusations and the hurts that nurses were doing to each other and to our patients. And I left looking for the answers, not realizing I was looking for the answers to go back into it eventually, because I coach healthcare and women for the most part, and men as well. But I have stepped back into healthcare with some answers and some solutions.
Well, isn't that fantastic? I mean, a lot of people, they'll leave careers and they go on to something else. But for you, you found the joy in it, and you've been able to integrate your past career with your present career in a way that's meaningful.
Yes, absolutely. It's I've come back with some tools to help the nurses realize that they have the control. For a lot of times you hear healthcare is whatever, and it's not about healthcare, because who is healthcare? Healthcare is us. It's everybody, including the public.
Right.
So we have a responsibility. If we're going to create an extraordinary life, it includes extraordinary healthcare. So whatever we do, whether we're a teacher and we're complaining about the load, or the students, whatever, it's about creating that extraordinary life as an extraordinary teacher.
So Liliane, what does an extraordinary life look like?
Well, it's different to each person, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you're happy. I think bottom line is you're happy. You can say, I can walk away. I remember days when I couldn't answer back to my father or to certain people in power, because I felt like I always had to listen. And one day I gained my voice. I found my voice, and I was able to respond back respectfully, so that it was about me, not about them. And I learned all those things, and I teach those things now. And I can confidently walk away saying what I believe without hurting the other person and respecting myself. And that's happiness. That's really extraordinary life in the moment.
So tell me a little bit about your business and how you help women and men.
Yeah, well, I do it in several ways. We do one-on-one coaching, so I work one-on-one with people, or I work in teams or in groups. I run a women's group called Mastermind for Women, where I deliver some of my experiences and learnings. I listen to where people are, and I shine the light on things that they're not seeing. Because when we're drenched in something, when we're struggling with something, we don't see the way out. And my first step is to tell them that pain is inevitable. Everybody will go through pain. That's part of life. That's where our lessons are. It's the struggle that we don't need to go through. When pain visits us, it's a place of looking at that from a different perspective. So I take people through different exercises and perspective. I do autosomatic training, which takes them into the pain and brings out something different for them, a new way of looking at things. And it's really about changing our beliefs on how things are coming our way and how to handle that. So, yeah.
Changing our beliefs.
Yeah, changing our beliefs are really, really important. That's part of the work.
Do you think that, well, I mean, what is the biggest belief that is the greatest obstacle that you have seen holding people back with your clients? Is it a belief about money is evil? Is one belief with many people, or is it belief I can't do it, or is self-doubt? What is that?
Yeah,
belief?
there's it becomes very personal because there's an understanding intellectually that, oh yes, I know that this is the way to make money, or how to handle my spouse, or how to handle my children, or how to, increase my business, those kinds of things. The biggest self-doubt is, I'll never be able to do it. I know it can be done, but I will never be able to do it. I don't ever think I'll succeed in doing that. I'll understand it, but I will never achieve it. That's it's a huge limiting belief. Because when we believe that, we get stuck. We don't move. We go to our comfort zone and then step back. And it takes a long time to keep pushing that comfort zone a little further. You really have to switch that belief.
So Liliane, how do you work with someone who would have that belief?
Well, to begin with, I work with, I start with them, which is what I do in my retreats or on a personal level, is I start with them looking at who they are. What are their passions? What are their values? What is their vision? What's their purpose? We do great exercises on discovering our purpose as a metaphor. That's how I got my title as Master of Experiential Change. It was through my own work that I discovered that empowered me as my purpose of creating experience for others. So knowing that, when I know that, I'm able to step into it much better. And then creating a vision plan that takes me to that place. Once I really know myself, that's when I can start looking at the obstacles that are holding me back from stepping into that place. And in the moment is when I can handle those situations. I can't handle anything from the past. I can foresee a bit of the future, but not how it's really going to be. I can, work towards something, which is always a great thing, but I don't really know how it's going to turn out. I only have control of the present. So when I work with people, it's about looking at what the obstacles are in the moment and shining the light on their patterns. Patterns are really important because we do things for a reason. It's the way we've learned, and we repeat it, but we don't know we're repeating. For example, when I worked with a lady recently who was married, a lot of verbal abuse in her marriage. And she was ready to leave the marriage, but talked about it, but wasn't really ready to leave. And we looked at what the beliefs were behind that and what she was actually getting out of the verbal abuse. It was attention. For her, it was attention. It was not a good, healthy attention, but she was getting attention. And for her to know that was like the aha. And
so that was holding her there in the marriage, is the attention.
Yes.
That was the pleasure, the gain that she was getting from that abuse.
Absolutely. And she's a very dynamic woman in life. Nobody would know she has any issues, but that's the pain that she holds on to. And she came in the first time to see me. She was about to go on antidepressants. She was really depressed. And she came back the week after to see me, and she walks in. I said, "How are you?" And she goes, "I am great. I'm fantastic." And I go, "Great, what's going on? Tell me about it." And she goes, "I don't know, it's you." And I go, "No, it's not me, it's you." And we took a look at what she had changed. So that's important, to bring the light to what she did, because I wasn't there the whole week. It was all about her.
I love it. Now, Liliane, we're going to take a quick break, and this means it's my good to know minute, and I know that you have a good success tip, so jump right in there with your success tip.
Yeah, well, the success tip, I think, is ultimately the technique on how to get rid of your limiting beliefs. Once that happens, you can just plow away in life and start getting an extraordinary life. That's the ultimate piece, the one that takes you over the edge to extraordinary.
Well, thanks for that.
Thank you.
That's good to know. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more with Liliane de Vries, founder of Alive. And we'll be talking about how to have an extraordinary life, one of my very favorite topics. So stay where you are. Welcome back to Extraordinary Women TV. I'm Shannon Skinner, and I'm joined by Liliane de Vries. She is the founder of Alive. We're talking about how to have an extraordinary life, and as I said before the break, it's one of my very favorite topics.
Yes, well, extraordinary life and extraordinary TV.
Extraordinary Women TV, isn't that perfect?
That's right.
Now, shaking up status quo is important to you.
Yes, absolutely. I don't take things the way they are. I look at them and say, how does that feel? Is that right? And if it's not, then I have a voice. I name it. I put it on the spot.
And you use it.
And I use it.
Yeah.
And yes, I like to stir things up. When people say things, I have them think about what they just said. So typically, you go to work and you say, how are you? And they go, I'm tired. And you hear that so often, I'm tired. I don't want to be here and all this. And I ask them, so what are you tired about? Or what's boring in your life, or whatever they're expressing. And they kind of sit back and go, now they have to think about what they just said. So I like to shake things up. I think it's important that people think about what they're saying. Communication is so important.
And of course, that's one of the focuses of this part of the show. I mean, we talk about how communication is one of the keys to having an extraordinary life, and that you work with your clients on how to have more effective communication. So, what are some of the things that people can do to have better communication?
Yes, well, I do a workshop actually, and do this with my groups as well, on John Gottman's work around toxic behaviors. And I actually I remember when doing a workshop called Toxic Cleanse. It's like the spring thing to do, right? And it's about getting rid of the toxins. Well, before you can get rid of toxins in your language, you need to know what the toxins are. And John Gottman, in his book of 7 Principles of a Great Marriage, which I use for people not even who are married, but just in relationship, talks about blame, defensiveness, stonewalling, and I lost the other one all of a sudden. But
it's okay,
it'll come to me.
Tonight, in the midnight, you'll
that's when I'll go, what was it? I teach this all the time. Where did I lose it?
That's okay.
But it's about putting people physically in a place on the floor that's named blame. So what does blame feel like? What color is it? How does it smell? When do you use it? When do you see other people use it, etc.? And then we go through this whole wheel of experiencing what each one is. And what's fascinating is people are always there thinking, yeah, I know my husband, or I know Joe, or I know Sue who does this, whatever. And then I have them choose their favorite one, which is fascinating because all of a sudden they go, my favorite one? I have a favorite toxic behavior, and they go, ooh, I don't want anybody to know what it is. And they find it, and of course I role play it first, right? So they know that I have a favorite as well. And how does it serve us? Why do we use blame? Why do we use defensiveness? Why do we stonewall? Why do we, use all the behaviors that give us something? Well, half the time we don't know how to use anything different. We don't know how to verbalize, because if you really think about it, if I'm blaming you and you're defending yourself, what's trying to happen? We're trying to resolve something.
Right, yeah.
We're not really looking to blame or defend. We're looking to resolve. We're actually going for the same thing.
Sure, yeah.
So if we come from that place of knowing, that's going to change. That's going to change our way of communicating.
So what else can somebody do to enhance their communication?
Well, using the I, from the I place always.
To say I.
Yeah,
not
to say
the I physical I, but to say I.
Well, and the I physical I as well, but the I and the I, yes. It is about coming from a place of what's happening over here, because the only place I have control of is myself. So I'm feeling this. I remember when I was in a meeting once, and there were 2 other managers, and all of a sudden I felt like I wanted to defend myself. And what I did was I actually named it. I said, hold on, guys. I am feeling like I want to defend myself, and it's not really what I want to do, because that's not going to get us anywhere. But I just need to work with this feeling right now. Take a breath and say, okay, what are we wanting to happen here? And then move from there. But the thing is, I called it. I wasn't going to try to hide it. There's nothing wrong with the emotion. The emotion comes up. We don't tell our kids, you can't be angry. You can be angry. Just be angry in your room, do what you need to do, ask for help if you need it, but don't bring it into my life. Don't bring it into other people's lives to disrupt them. Deal with what you need to do to deal with it, or speak to the person that you're angry with in a respectful way. So it's all communication.
Do you work with people to help them find the gift in their challenges and in their difficulties and in the struggles?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is a gift in everything. That woman that I spoke about just recently that I have, when she wanted to leave her husband, I said, you cannot leave your husband till you find out what he's there to teach you. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't find out what he's there to teach you, you're going to find the same thing a lot harder in the next marriage. And it's so true. We keep going. Think about people who are in abusive marriages, go from one to another, or who go from a place where they dominate, or they go to the next relationship and dominate. It's the same pattern. So we need to learn what it is we need to learn from that place. And so I shine the light on that.
Now, you're working on a movie, Making the Difference, or is it The Difference?
It's called The Difference Movie, yeah. I got approached. Yeah, I got approached a couple of years ago from Jacqueline Bignell, who is Australian, who woke up one day with a dream that she wanted to create a movie, something like The Secret or What the Bleep Do We Know? So something that was for everybody, but with a strong message. So she wants to call it, or she's calling it, The Difference Movie. And she decided to get collaborators around the world to collectively come together and start creating the movie. So I'm the hub leader in Toronto. And I have a team that we meet once a month, and even more than once a month, where we talk about different words or different things, scenarios that we'd like to see in the movie. We're bringing in the consciousness of different cultures, different perspectives, women, men, children, older, younger, different countries. What is it to make a difference? What does that mean? Because for me to spend, or for us as Canadians to express what it is to make a difference, may not resonate with people in other countries. So how to collectively make this movie so it speaks on a bigger, wider scale. I think it's fascinating. And Jacqueline has this dream, and I'm so grateful to be part of it. I think it's fascinating, and it has truly awakened me on what the difference is I'm here to make. So being a part of that has been a gift.
Liliane, what do you love about your work, your job the most?
I'm just so excited when somebody it's like their cellular level, their vibration is higher because of the work that we've done together. They are smiling. They're not going to the antidepressants. They're rebuilding their relationships. They're taking charge of their own life. I tell you, when I walk out of every session or every call that I hang up, or a team, I can see myself just going, yes, like it's, another one who's on their way to an extraordinary life. How can I not be in awe of that? Like, it's fascinating.
And you bring up something that's interesting, because it's a lot of my guests are experts, and depression comes up a lot, actually. And I know that there are a number of people on antidepressants. And I also know that there's, I'm not a healthcare provider, but I also know that there's a very big movement in the holistic natural health community to not take antidepressants. But are there times for some people out there, if they want to have an extraordinary life, they know they want to be happy, they know there's certain things that they need to do to get there, and maybe their doctors prescribed antidepressants, but they come to you and they don't know what to do. I mean, are there times when people should use an antidepressant actually to maybe give them a kickstart?
Well, my quick response would be no. My medical background and maybe the exact response to that might be, I don't know. I don't want to be the expert that says, no, they should never be on antidepressants. However, my experience has shown that if I take a look at Patch Adams, if you look at the movie, when he didn't give antidepressants. I saw him speak publicly, and he said he never gave antidepressants because these people only needed love. If you take a look at every struggle, every pain, you peel the onion behind that, the core of all that is love. And if we just get the love, so we need, if we work with somebody who believes in us and who loves us enough, we will find ourselves. So that would be more of a psychiatric question. However, my experience has also been that people have gone quickly on that without being assessed or given the chance of finding out what the problem is. There's a lot of controversy on it. If somebody comes to me and they are on antidepressants, I will never tell them that they should go off them. I should never tell them they shouldn't be on it. I always tell them to keep working with their doctor and to keep working with me, and let them find the answer to that question. I will never tell people what to do. I'm not a doctor, and I won't pretend to be.
So your job is really to help shine the light
in the right direction.
In the right direction.
In the right direction. You know, I had my biggest gifts, I think, were my parents. Both my parents went through the war. My mother was a victim of the war, lost her father in concentration camp. They were from France. My father was in the resistance, you know, hard times. My mother still remains a victim of her circumstances. Everything is all about being a victim. My father showed me that you be courageous. You help people and you just plow through that and live that extraordinary life. So the two people that went through basically the same experiences, different of course, because it's never the same, showed me two different ways of handling things. That's where I shake the status quo. Somebody who's going to remain a victim gets something out of it. I challenge my mom to this day. My mom's 84, still working, and she's an amazing woman. And yet there's still that little piece that, you know, I just keep testing her on it. I keep shaking her on it.
Well, Liliane, you are really quite an inspiring woman, and unfortunately we have run out of time. But I have truly enjoyed this time with you. Now, if somebody wants to know more about your services, what is your URL?
Yes, www.alive2bu.com. All full words, alive2bu.com.
Well, thanks again for your time. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And be alive and have an extraordinary life.
Oh, always. Thank you.
Well, for more information, of course, about Liliane de Vries, you can visit my website at extraordinarywomentv.com. There you can find out more information about past guests, upcoming guests, announcements, more about me, and how you can contact me. Of course, follow me on Twitter, and if you follow me, I'll follow you back. Well, if you are interested in transforming your life, I hope these stories inspire you. You've been watching Extraordinary Women TV. I'm Shannon Skinner. See you soon.